And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, hello and welcome to the Weighing In podcast where my man, the real punk, Josh Thompson, is ready to give you a plethora of items to sort yourself out with. The upcoming fights from Louisville, Kentucky. The UFC has got a very nice card that comes off of UFC 302. Kind of neat that they're not at the Apex, that they're going to where the fans can go and see the fights. They're at the Yum Yum Center, I think it is, in Kentucky. Yum Yum.
Got that Justin Bieber talk. You got my yummy yum, my yummy yum. What you know about that song, John? What you know about it?
Not a damn thing, because I don't listen to Justin Bieber.
Don't lie. You know that shit playing on repeat in your car.
I swear to God. I can't believe you even know a song that
John,
he has.
John,
seriously.
I got two young kids.
I could not name you a Justin Bieber song if my life.
Oh, man. My son, when Despacito came out, he was rocking it. Because, you know, like my aunts will speak to him in Spanish. He don't understand a lick in Spanish, but they speak to him in Spanish. And so, you know, when Despacito came out, he thought he was learning Spanish when it came out.
Dude,
so
I understand what he's saying. It's awesome.
It was great, man. All right, guys. Hey,
how has my young prodigy been doing with lacrosse?
It's, you know, what's funny is he plays the.
Tell me he's crushing it.
Man. He had a really good game last week.
That's what I want.
He had two assists, one goal last week. So very impressive. He had two games before it got canceled because of lightning and thunder and stuff. But yeah, he's having fun. Here's the thing.
They're just running around with metal poles. What's the problem?
His is actually fiberglass. A little bit lighter.
Okay.
He actually likes soccer more, but he's better at lacrosse. So, you know. Yeah. But hey, as long as he likes it. Yeah, he'll grow up. He'll grow up.
He'll grow up.
So
tell him I like the lacrosse way better.
Yeah, it's just if you guys have an opportunity to go back this last week and even to 2023's NC2A National Championship game between Duke and Notre Dame last year. And then this year was Maryland and Notre Dame.
Yeah, I didn't see this year. I remember watching.
Awesome, man. Awesome games. Just crazy. Like, you know, my son's watching. He's like, "Oh man, Maryland's up 2-0. They're like 5 minutes in. They're up 2-0." And I'm like, and he's like, "Man, they're gonna crush Notre Dame. It's their year." Da, da, da. And then like all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, it's 2-2. Then it's 4-2. And my son's like, "Oh wait, they're losing. What's going on?" He was like mind blown because obviously for them, they're either way ahead or like no one's really scoring in his age bracket. So he's having a blast. He's doing good, man. He's doing really well, you know. So he's got his travel ball schedule. We're gone almost every weekend this month, you know, in June because of travel ball. So for lacrosse. So then after June he wraps it up, and then we got a little time off, you know, between then and I think end of July or early August, I think is when his soccer goes full swing again, and lacrosse starts like around end of October. He's back on. So. Yeah,
it's all about having fun right now. Learning.
It really is, man. It really is. We you know, like I said, we've been talking with. I have the other podcast which we haven't launched yet, guys. But it's we call it the Dad Dojo, and it's with Bobby Lashley and Rich Chow. We talk about just the kids and you know, our kids. Rich and our kids play travel ball. His plays baseball, and mine plays soccer and lacrosse. And then both his kids won districts in track. I mean, just smoking his son and his daughter, both of them. They're so funny. They like to compete against each other. They were talking about.
That's surprising. So the mother must be one hell of an athlete.
She actually is.
Because,
she is. Yes, she is. So,
I was going to say, because Bobby Lashley's not that good an athlete.
He's so fast. Even at his age now, he's so fast.
Dude, he was so freaking athletic and
just
crazy.
Built like a Greek god still.
All
right, hey guys, we're gonna go before we get started on the UFC. Is Fight Night? What is this? UFC Fight Night?
I like when you did that.
Before we do this, go hit that subscribe button down below. I want to thank you guys for continuing. We've grown just in this last 28 days. We've gotten 1,500 subscribers. I want to thank you guys. You guys must be doing something right, or we're doing something right. But regardless,
no, they're doing something.
It's a mutual thing, man.
Spread the word.
This is like a teamwork type situation. You guys are crushing it for us. We want to thank you guys.
It's all about spreading the gospel.
Not sure that word means what you think it means.
Well,
So
I mean,
look, we're having a blast doing this, and there's obviously been some changes in terms of what's going on, how we're doing this, and so we're having some fun with it right now. We've got some new sponsors that are coming in as well, and we want to hopefully you guys can hit the descriptions down below. You guys like those sponsors? Check them out. Like our Element sponsor, we love. It's great for you guys. My son uses it as well before some training, light before the training, and then also a little bit afterwards, obviously to get rehydrated, especially if he's in a tournament. So it's good for you. Sodium, regardless of what people tell you, is good for you, especially if you're an athlete. John's out there using it on the farm as he pours down sweats all the time. I use Element at least once or twice a day, depending on what I've done. I've got my 4-mile run in today. Used it a little bit before. It also gives you that little.
I got my 4-mile run in too, chasing the bull.
I use it as a little bit of a pre-workout. And I was doing this before Element was around. I was doing this as a fighter. And so what I was doing is I was using Celtic sea salt in a thing of water. Now Element has a little bit more minerals, a little bit more nutritious value to it than just the Celtic sea salt.
A lot more magnesium.
I noticed a big difference in my performance when I salt loaded in the morning and performed throughout the day. Less cramping, also a little bit more energy. And I use it almost like a pre-workout. It gave me that little jolt instead of drinking coffee. So it made me feel better about, getting out there. I almost felt the anticipation of wanting to spar, wanting to train, wanting to grapple. It was like a pre-workout feeling without the jitters. So I had a great experience with that. Now that I'm using Element, I've noticed a big difference in my performances as well. Look, getting older sucks, but getting that little extra boost, feeling good about it.
You tell me about it, please.
So look, guys, hit the link in the descriptions down below, for Element. Check them out. Every time you purchase one of their mixtures, which is the powder, like a liquid IV, mix one of their mixtures, put that in a liter of water or, 12 ounces of water, however you like it. The strength of the sodium load and the electrolytes, will obviously get better with less water, but I use it with a liter of water. It takes away a little. Yeah, really? I use it with a liter of water just because I don't drink any water, John. That's the only water I drink is that liter of water. And so,
wow, I use it with 16 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah. The taste is absolutely fantastic. Obviously there's going to be flavors that you like more than others, but even me, a guy who cannot stand a true grapefruit because you got to put sugar all over it to actually eat it. It's the only way I can eat one. The grapefruit flavor is fantastic.
I like the grapefruit. They have watermelon now. They've got raspberry.
Watermelon, raspberries.
They're so good. Anyways, check them out, guys. But hey, hit that subscribe button down below. I want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. Also, one last thing I wanted to mention before we get rolling. We're going to turn our memberships on. So those of you guys that want to join as a member here on our YouTube channel, please do so. We haven't set a price yet on that. But John and I are going to discuss. This is the first John's ever hearing this, guys. So I want to let you guys know. But look, we're going to set our memberships on and, and see what you guys think. We're going to offer a couple little things. I know that some, they just put their memberships on and all they offer you is the little icon next to the name. So when you comment, we make sure we get to you guys right away. But look, I think, signed shirts from us, signed shirts for Weighing In podcast shirts, whatever memorabilia that we have, around that, that we know that we could spare with. And,
I
spare with all of it. And so look, there's things out there that we would like to give our loyal listeners. So make sure you guys subscribe to us, obviously. And then when we turn those memberships on, you guys can go ahead and hit that membership as well. So I want to thank you guys so much for being part of this. Let's go ahead and get right into this UFC on ESPN. What is it? 57, I think is what it is.
57.
Yeah, something like that. So Cannonier versus Imavov.
Coming off of a pay-per-view, normally the fights are, in that position where there's a lot of people that you really either you've seen once or you haven't seen at all. Having this fight as the main event, I think is perfect for it. Look, Jared Cannonier he is a monster, and it's all about his motivation and him, how he feels about, his possibility of getting to that title match. I think if he gets, a win here, he's put himself right in line with either having one fight, something like a Sean Strickland, rematch, because Sean believes that he won that fight. Jared believes he won that fight, but a rematch, and whoever gets the win there can get a fight against DDP. I don't know for sure that that's going to happen, but it makes sense to me. And right now, Jared Cannonier has either beaten, the best there is. The only people that I can think of that he has not beaten is Robert Whittaker. He lost to, and he lost to the the champ in a championship fight. He lost to Israel Adesanya at the time. Other than that, he's beaten everybody in the middleweight division. Everybody.
Look, someone who's come down basically from the heavyweight division down into 185 with all the weight loss that he's done, he understands what it takes to put the hard work in, to get his weight down, to to get his cardio up, to do all these things. There's nothing that he will not be prepared for when it comes into that fight. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight. Look, John, you and I were talking a little bit before this show, and we got down to it, and the nitty gritty was, you really believe that he has the advantage when it comes down to the cardio and the ability to push Imavov into deep water.
Well, if you look at when Jared Cannonier does well, he's moving forward. Very few people have been able to push him back, but when they push him back, they tend to do better. Yeah. Sean Strickland was able to push him back for some of the fight, but not all of the fight. It was a back and forth. Same thing with Whitaker. And Imavov comes out strong. He comes out real, heavy and fast, and he is talented. I'm not going to tell you he's not. He's going to have a hard time taking Jared Cannonier down. I just don't see it really happening because that's not his, set of skills. I'm not saying he can't wrestle. He wrestles well, but he's got to get that on someone like Cannonier in a transition where Cannonier gets hit with a shot or something like that. So I look at it and I go, well, who's going to be the guy fighting off his back foot for most of the fight? I think it's going to be Imavov. He might start off coming forward, but you're going to see Jared take that over. And when he does, when Imavov cannot control the pace of the fight, he does tend to get tired. When he controls the pace of the fight, he's cruising. He's on cruise control, and he's doing well throughout it. So he needs to be the guy in control of that pace. He needs to be the guy pressing forward. And if he's not, I would tell you, look for him to get a little tired as those rounds go on. And I think this fight's going to go a ways. Both these guys have good power in their hands, but they both can take a good shot. I look at Jared Cannonier. If it gets into the third round, look out. He's going to start to take over in the fight.
So I would agree with your assessment if it gets into the third, fourth round, which I think it's gonna. But I think in those first 3 rounds, I think Imavov definitely, has the advantage. I kind of believe so,
and
the reason why I say that is because if you look at Imavov, what he's really good at doing is he's good at fighting off of his back foot. He's good at making you miss and making you pay. He slides just a little bit outside of range, a little bit like a Sean Strickland. He slides a little bit outside of range, and he counters really well with the straight right and the 1-2 or whatever the combination is right after that. But he does a good job of just barely making you miss, which obviously zaps
he
your
does
energy.
Pick his chin up because he
does a little
back.
bit. He does.
And his chin does come up, and he's got to be careful of that with someone's got power like Cannonier.
And I don't see Imavov trying to take him down. I think if his head gets down, I think maybe he'll chase a guillotine maybe a little bit. I've seen him chase it a couple times, if it's there. I think he did it with Shabazian. I think he chased the guillotine in that, and he put a whooping on Shabazian. That was an ass beating right there. But look, with Cannonier, the strength I think is going to go to Cannonier. The slickness is going to go to Imavov. The cardio is going to go to Cannonier. The ability to make him fight off of his back, or the ability to fight off of his back foot, though, may throw Cannonier off a little bit. Because anytime you pressure someone and you're always just kind of out of the way, and you're missing, you start getting tired. That's one. And 2 is, okay, why am I chasing this guy? Make this guy fight me right here. And then that might start to frustrate him, a little bit. I don't know if it will or not, but we could see. We're going to find out. That's definitely for sure.
I don't know. He's got a great camp. John Crouch is a super coach, and he's smart enough to look at the film and go, hey, we are going to press this guy. We are going to make him fight. And this is what I need you to do. And yes, he's going to try to counter you, and he is, but you've got to put him in those positions where you're forcing him towards the direction of your power. And Jared Cannonier is good at that. So it's a really good fight. It's a good matchup. Cannonier is coming off of, like I said, big wins. Imavov coming off nice wins. They're both in that position. It's not, you can go down the card here and you're going to see guys coming a lot of, the old, multiple losses. We're going to match those guys up, see who's going to lose again. Maybe they may be gone. So this is one of those ones, both guys coming off of wins. Both guys are in a position to really put themselves, in the title contention. Imavov, maybe not with one fight, maybe 2, but Cannonier with this fight, maybe one more. I think he's
well, let's go ahead and see what the odds makers think, though, at BetUS. If you guys go to BetUS, you can check out the odds.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
Nasruddin Imavov is minus 135, and Jared Cannonier is plus 105. You know, if you look at it too, the minus 170 on the over at 4.5. I mean, this is going to go the distance. I think so. I think so. You know, and it's plus 140 on the under. You're thinking that someone's going to get finished here. I sense it in your voice.
I am looking at. I think that this goes into that 4th, 5th round area, but I think someone's going to be exhausted. And it's going to be the difference.
You said someone, but you already said earlier who you think has the better cardio. So you were just
absolutely, and that's why at being the guy who's the underdog, I'll take Jared Cannonier in this fight all day long.
Okay, I see what you did there. But let's, you know what I want to do though, John, is I want to get into the rankings a little bit. So if I'm looking at these rankings though, and I'm seeing like who is in here, hold on, let me pull up on these guys here. You know, and so when I'm pulling up and you got into the rankings at 185, you got Jared Cannonier at number 4, and you got Imavov at number 8. You got Paulo Costa, 7, Brendan Allen at 6. You got Vittori at 5. You got Cannonier there at 4. Cannonier wins. I think he's going to be right back in that mix of Izzy or Robert Whitaker, Sean Strickland.
He's right there.
There's nowhere else for him to go.
Yeah.
You know, and this kind of fighting someone, we saw it with Dustin. If you got to fight someone that's ranked less than you, look, you got to butter it up a little bit for me with my next fight if I get a good finish. So if he gets a good finish, if Cannonier gets a good finish over Imavov,
he might have a title.
I did you guys a favor. I fought the guy ranked below me. I didn't give you guys a hard time. Maybe he did, but we just don't know. But now he's fighting this guy. He hasn't said anything negative about having to fight backwards, not that I've heard. And so that being said, that's a hard thing to do, I guess, especially against somebody who's good, really good, who's tough. But there's a way to beat him, like you said. Put the pressure, make him make a mistake, make him tired, grind on him, get against the fence, hang on him, make his arms tired, make his legs tired. All of those things are big possibilities by Jared Cannonier. So, But what happens now if Imavov wins? Where does that put him?
Oh, well, see, that's why I said it would take multiple fights, in my opinion, for Imavov to actually change things based upon he's still got guys that he hasn't ever fought that are above him. And it's going to be hard to put him in that title picture above those guys. And so you look and you go, well, he's got multiples. He had that great fight against Roman Dolidze in his last fight. I mean, and that was a great performance because Dolidze, absolutely. And so, but when you go back and you look at, he had the loss to Sean Strickland, Cannonier's had the win against Strickland. Now, again, some people will say that they thought Sean won. Sean thought he won. I think at the time I had Cannonier winning that fight, but Imavov, he can go with everyone. He's had the one loss he had against, I think it was Phil Haas, which was surprising to me. But like you said, he beat Shabazi, and he had a great fight there. He had the great fight against Joaquin Buckley. He looked great. It was a decision, but he really dominated most of the action of the fight. He's that guy that can if he can control the fight, he's a sumbitch to beat.
Yeah, I could see Imavov going up if he ends up beating Jared Cannonier. I could see him fighting at number 4. He'll end up being ranked number 4. I could see him end up having to maybe fight someone like a Brendan Allen then, because they know that both of them. I think that's what the UFC would probably aim towards, because then you only have Robert Whitaker and you've got Izzy and Sean. I could see them potentially giving him Sean, but I think Sean's going to get the next title shot unless Izzy comes back.
Izzy comes. Look, they're waiting, I think, kind of hemming and hawing about what they're going to do, because they want to put Izzy against DDP. There's already been heat there. There's a good storyline. There's all the marketing is in place for him. It makes sense. It doesn't make sense if you're Sean Strickland, but, it does make sense if you're the UFC, and I understand why they would want to do it.
Sean's a dangerous fight for Imavov, though. Just the way he pressures, like you're saying, they're very almost not similar, because Sean doesn't fight as good going backwards, but Sean doesn't get tired when he goes forward. Can Imavov handle the striking, that little push kick, all of those things? But that makes for a fun fight as well. But all right, next fight, John. What do you got?
Dominick Reyes coming in against Dustin Jacoby. It's kind of a little bit different. I mean, they're both coming off of a loss. Well, Dominick is coming off of, I believe, 4 losses. Oof. And, he's had it rough. Maybe I think his first loss was to John Jones in the championship fight. He hasn't had a win since, and I think his last win was Chris Weidman. And that was back in like 2019.
Got it.
And so we're talking, it's been a long time. And you know how things happen when you get the 1 loss, then you get 2. Now it's 3. Oh my God, it's 4. And the confidence is just shot. And now you're grasping at straws about what did I do then? What am I not doing now? How am I, what? And if the fight doesn't start out good for you, then it's another mind fuck where you're going to start going, down that slippery slope. So he's really got to come out here and just be the guy that he used to be, set the tone, use his good stand up, and just control the distance in this fight. The problem is he's going against a guy who's a hell of a kickboxer. Dustin Jacoby can, he can fight with anyone. The Hanyak is he's a good athlete. He's had a great run in the UFC. He's got, a couple of losses, but some of them were split decision losses that people thought, oh, I think he won, and so this is not going to be that give me fight. This is a tough one. Dominick Reyes is really up against it in this one. And I again, putting 2 guys with losses against each other. This was like the norm for Joe Silva. And I think Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard have just kind of taken that and said, it's a good way of looking at it. We get someone a win. We like that. And then if we have to get rid of someone, then maybe we'll look at it then, or we'll just keep them again for another one. But Dominick Reyes, mentally, this is a huge fight. He's got to do well. Yeah,
more of the mental comes with being knocked out. That's what he's
had that happen in the last how many?
He's probably just thinking every time he gets hit, I'm gonna get knocked out. It just wears on you. And it affects the way you throw your strikes. You're constantly gritting down as you throw to make sure if you get hit, you can take it. I don't see a way that he beats Dustin, and I mean he can catch him too because he's a big guy. He still has power, and when you're talking 205 pounders, they still got the power. And and Dominick's always had good power. He's good to get in there and mix it up. He's just could be a little bit chinny now. He could be. Now it's going to take a good shot to get him out. He can take a shot.
But let me ask you something. And how do you feel about this? Because I look at Dominick, and I remember Dominick as an amateur, and Joe Stevenson was his coach. And Joe was the one that told me, "Hey, John, watch out for this guy. He is good, right?" And I started watching him. I said, "Yeah, he's got some skill," and just watched him get better and better. And then all of a sudden, he was in the UFC. And then he had that fight with John Jones for the title. And many people thought he won that. Many people said he won that three rounds to 2. But John took over in the last, I think, 2 rounds for sure. But he hasn't had that performance. He was undefeated at that time. And since that, like you said, knockouts to Yuri, knockouts to Jan. I mean,
he hasn't won since, has he?
No, he is not. And tell me that one fight has just turned the table on Dominick, and he hasn't been able to overcome it.
We've seen it before. I don't think Josh Koscheck won a fight after he fought Georges St-Pierre.
Yeah.
That might be too. My boy, exactly the same. It hurt me because he had lost, I think, 5 or 6 in a row when he left the UFC. Then he went over to Bellator and lost there too. He just called it a career after that. But it really came down to
I remember I did his last fight in Bellator, and it was absolutely
not even the same guy.
I mean, no, not even the same guy. It was not the guy that you saw for so long and that did so well. Craziness.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ability to take the shots and you're constantly thinking about getting knocked out. And that one fight changed the direction of his career. What it was I thought I was going to be champion. I had it. I was in there with John Jones. Everyone says I won that fight. It deflates you. It deflates like your ability to like look past that. There's like an old saying, like basically if you're living in the past, you're never moving forward. And fighters when things like that happen to people, they're stuck there. They're stuck going, man, I was this close. It should have been mine. Judges screwed me. I mean, there's what movie is it where the guy, I can't remember what movie it is. Maybe Naked Gun, where the kicking, I'm being serious. Stop. What's the one with the kicker from Miami Dolphins where he said laces out and he ends up being like a murderer or whatever it was?
Oh, what was it? That was Ace
Ventura. Okay.
Detective.
Whatever. They're all kind of funny.
The fact that I can answer
that's pretty crazy. And you were giving me a hard time about Justin Bieber. Shut your mouth. The fact that you can answer that, Ace Ventura. Jeez.
Ace Ventura. Jim Carrey.
Man. But no, yeah, the kick, like it affected him his whole life, you know, and I know it's a movie, I know, but those moments in your career.
No, dude. Okay, you want to talk? It wasn't a movie. Where that really came from is what?
In real life, when he missed it.
The Super Bowl.
He missed it. Laces out. Out.
Yeah, exactly, man. That was freaking the Buffalo Bills' first loss in the Super Bowl against the New York Giants. I mean, you just look at you go wide right. Oh my God.
Just crazy. But yeah, look, I think with Dominick Reyes, he's a stud. He had a good career. Like when you're chalking him.
Ooh, see right there. You just said he
had a good career. I think he is. I think he is. And I think Dustin's got the power to touch the chin. He's got to be careful himself, though. He's not getting knocked out. Because
look at Dominick still has power.
What is he? 6'8", 6'9", something like that?
6'4".
Oh, 6'4"? Okay, 6'4". I thought he was taller than that.
Yeah, he's
tall.
tall.
He's a big guy. Are you sure?
Yeah. He used to play safety in football.
That's not. There's no way he played safety in.
He did.
There's no way. He's so big.
He did.
John, he's enormous. He's not 6'4". He's got to be 6'8". No, he's 6'4". No, Damn, you were 6'4". Right. Son of a gun.
Yeah, okay.
Son of a gun. You were right. But you know what's funny, though, is look, let's take a look at the odds on this, though. When I'm looking at this, BetUS has Dominick Reyes at plus 170, Dustin Jacoby at minus 210.
See, but you're looking at Dustin Jacoby's the favorite.
This is where I think we were just talking about, though. The over is plus 175 of 2.5. They're thinking someone's getting knocked out.
They are thinking someone's going to be hitting the floor.
So the under is minus 215.
I think I might go the over on it. I'm not
2.5?
Sure. Yeah. Look, both of their chins can be touched, and both of their chins are not what they once were. There's no doubt about that. So I understand why they have it there. But it really depends on how they attack each other, because I think it's going to be, for the most part, pretty technical. Dustin can be technical, and especially when he's up against a guy as tall or taller than him, he tends to really take and not make big movements, and he takes his time, and he uses the jab, and he just tries to touch instead of trying to really lay you out with it. So I think it's an interesting fight, even though you got guys coming off losses. I'm in that position. I would love to see Dominick Reyes get it back. I'm not too sure he can.
I don't think he can either.
Honest, but I would love to see it.
I mean, but look, Jacoby's also 6'4".
Yeah, he's more like 6'2". I'm telling you, you watch. You're gonna see him. You're gonna see him. They're gonna be like that. But yeah, been up with both guys.
All right, next fight, John.
Raul Rosas Jr. against Ricky Turcios. This is a fight that just seems to get pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. But now, hopefully, we're going to see this fight. And it's actually an interesting matchup for me. I think, Rosas Jr. has been hyped big time. He's been pushed big time. You got to give the kid, you got to give him some room to breathe, man. You got to, and I think Ricky Turcios is a good opponent for him. He's a guy that really brings pressure, does a lot of action in the fight and everything. I think the ground, Rosas is a better ground technician than Turcios. He's just better everywhere on the ground. really sets his opponent up with pushing him towards the submission that he's looking for. But Turcios in the stand-up is going to give Raul some problems. So it's really, I think it's a great fight. In the bantamweights, both these guys are, Turcios won the tough and looked good in that whole thing. And then, like I said, Raul Rosas was 18 when they signed him. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I believe so. John, I'm actually going to go with Ricky Turcios in this fight.
I can understand why, but I think I'm going to go with
the
Rosas.
reason why I'm going to go with Ricky is because we've seen with Rosas Jr., like when someone puts the hammer on him and puts the pressure and you're chasing submissions, you're not the same fighter,
but hold on. This is the key. I agree with you. And you're absolutely right. And that's what happened to him with his one loss. Did he learn anything?
Yeah, he did.
From that?
I think he did as well. But Ricky Turcios is not going to turn. He's not going to shut down, and he's just going to keep putting the pressure. He's going to keep trying to land the ground and pound. As you're trying to hit submissions, he's going to try to take your head off. And
no doubt about
look, if Turcios can get out of the first round, I think it's his fight to lose. Because I think sprawl and brawl, the ability to stop maybe some takedowns, I think he's got a good chance of getting this win. This is a fun fight. You got two guys came from the Ultimate Fighter, and you get a little love for both of them. They're really pushing Rosas Juniors, and I think Ricky is.
Rosas Jr. didn't come from the Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, the Dana White, the Dana White. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
They all seem the same to me.
Just wanted to clear it up before it comes all out in the comments, and then you're reading about Josh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen anyways. Look, someone didn't even hear your comment right now. They were already on their keyboard talking shit. Talking shit. They put pause and then they went in to talk shit. That's what they did. I love it. Look, you guys are giving me something to do, man. You guys talk the trash down there. I come in there and mop you guys up real quick with my trash talk, and then we're good to go.
Damn.
So let's keep it polite, though. Okay, let's keep keep the mother effers out of there. Look, overall though, I think Ricky's got a good chance of getting this win. Should be a good fight though. I think we're going to see the Ricky try to keep it on the feet, sprawl and brawl, keep his back up the fence, try to stay on the top if he is on the ground. Try and stay on the top and look for a lot of action from the top from Ricky. Lots of ground and pound, lots to make Raul Rosas Jr. to make him kind of have to worry about getting punched while chasing the submission. That'll change the grappling game a lot.
Yeah, I will.
Next fight.
We got Bruno Ferreira coming in against Dustin Stolfels. Brunno is known as the Hulk. I like this guy. He came in and I want to say he was a last minute replacement. Got a big time knockout in his first fight, but he then did lose his next one. He is just compact. He is absolutely a strong individual. He's got power in his hands. Not real tall, probably about 5'9", 5'10", but man, he is jacked. And this is Dustin Stolfels is that guy. Wrestling is the key for Dustin, and Brunno is a knockout guy, but he can wrestle. He's got good takedown defense. And so Dustin's going to have to go through the storm to get into where he is going to be effective. And he's got to do that to win this fight. He cannot stay and be in a stand-up battle with Brunno, or else he's going to get
He's got to take the Josh Thompson approach in his career. Lose the first round, and hopefully you're still there in the second and third. That's what you got to do. You're just going to lose the first, just taking it for what it is. And go, you know what? I started to do my work in the second and the third. Brunno's got some powers, man. He's just built like a brick shit house.
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to. And he throws the heat.
Dude, his last knockout against Phil Oz, that knee, holy shit.
Yeah, he's got some power, man. He's got some power. And when you're that small, that compact, and it just when it hits, you feel like your head's exploding. It's like bam.
It might be.
But Dustin, like I said, he's gonna have to survive the first round and get into the second and the third, and really start trying to string these together. Look, if you want to kind of ease the pain, for me, my approach always was when I was fighting somebody like that had a lot of power, was to get into the clinch as soon as I could. because then you're trying to like hang with them. You're trying to like get their arms to fill up with blood. You're trying to take some steam off their punches. Try to get to the clinch as fast as you can. Start hanging on their body. Start making them use their strength, to get out of those positions. So if he does that.
What's your thought about purposely, when you got a guy that it's got big power, purposely kicking to the side where that's he's got a great left hand, purposely kicking to that left arm. He's got a great right hand, purposely kicking onto the arm.
Yeah, because it keeps that elbow loyal to the ribs. So then they don't have to worry.
Yes,
There's a small delay from when they take the kick. Sometimes it throws them off balance. Sometimes it doesn't. But at least there's that small delay for you to get your leg back and hopefully out of the way of the big shot. Best you can do. Next fight.
All right, we've got the Cuban Missile Crisis. Julian Marquez, who I enjoy all the time, coming in against Zach Reese. But again, both guys coming off of a loss. But, Marquez is that guy. I don't know where he has settled in now because he was with Glory MMA with James Krause and stuff. And I don't know where he has settled in for sure. So that's a question. Always going to a new camp is different and all those things. And I know he hasn't had success since the whole thing happened with James Krause. So it's kind of a strange position to be in. He's got power in his hands. He is a stand-up fighter for the most part. He will take the fight to the ground. He's got, decent wrestling. He's got a decent ground game. Zach Reese is a little bit different, kind of long, lanky. He's got power, but his last fight was his first loss of his career.
Yeah. John, I think that's going to be a good fight though. But look, the fight that I'm most looking forward to is not the most looking forward to on the card, but this next fight, Miguel Baeza versus Soriano.
Man, I'll tell you, Soriano's got, you can talk to people. Punahele, he's got more power than he knows what to do with. But the problem is he has a real tendency to try to make it happen when he doesn't have to. And that's where I'm really trying to say is this is a guy that all he's got to do is throw his hands out there. Just touch. You touch, trust me, they're gonna fall. Because all you got to do is touch the right spot. And Miguel Baez, very good fighter, good stand-up, good ground. He's well-rounded and everything, but no one's chin is punch-proof. And Baez, in my opinion, wants to get Punahele off of his feet. You don't want to be standing with him, for an entire fight. It's too dangerous for you. And if you can put him on his back, all that punching power.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be able to do that though. Baeza is also coming off two TKO losses. The last time he fought was in 2022 against Andre Fiallo. And I remember watching that fight because that was Fiallo's, I think, first fight in the UFC.
Was that his first
so?
one?
Yeah, I believe so. Look, I mean, he lost to Ponzinibbio, then he lost to Chaos Williams, and then he lost to Fiallo. His first loss though was to Ponzinibbio, and it was a decision. But I mean, he's rattled off 3 losses in a row. He hasn't fought since 20.
Yeah, because he was undefeated.
This is that whole thing, like Dominick Reyes. Like exactly, it just gets in your mind. Like I can't afford to lose another one. I can't afford. Like some people losing their changes their career.
Oh, it changes everything about him. Changes the confidence of I can't be beat to now. Oh my God, I don't want to lose. It is a complete different mindset in that you go into. I will tell you that, I tell people all the time, my biggest problem, and Randy Couture was the one that kept fucking, made things very clear, as far as the way he looked at competing, and
how was that? Tell me, what do you mean how he looked at it?
He looked, he goes, I love competition. I love competing. I love going in and seeing how I can do against this person, be it in wrestling, be it in MMA, whatever it was. He goes, but the one thing that I know going in is all I have to do is do my best. And if it's not good enough, oh well. It's not going to be the end of my life. It's not going to be where people that I care about don't love me anymore. It's just a fight. And if the worst thing in the world is you lose a fight, he goes, you got a great fucking life.
Absolutely.
And I was like, God damn it, where did this fucking logic come from? But
look
it's
at the
so
big
true.
brain on his ass.
Look at the big brain on Randy. And I've told people that whole thing, throughout time, that's like, man, when I wrestled or played in anything, man, I was so worried about losing that I would do enough to win, but I wouldn't take the chance in getting the pin. Why? I can ride. I'm not going to take the chance. And it's like, no, that's not the way to compete.
I was a go for broke in everything I ever did.
Perfect.
I literally was. I was that kid though that couldn't sit down though and sit still. So like I always needed to have something to do.
ADD?
Yeah.
No, just absolutely freaking hyper.
It just was someone that I was a walking time bomb, and I just loved being active. I was outside all the time. I was climbing trees all the time. I was riding my bike, jumping. I think I was about 7 or 8 years old. I knocked myself out doing jumps on my bike behind the school, the elementary school. They had the dirt mounds. Just got up, kept going. No big deal. But yeah, these are moments, man. These are big. I don't know. Just it changes who you are when you start counting the wins and the losses, John. And you can't afford to do that.
It does.
And I take the.
But it's so easy to do.
No, it's not. It's easy not to do it though.
It's so easy to do.
I don't know. Yeah,
Josh,
I get what you're saying,
and this is why I'm saying it. It's the same thing as what you were saying, and when I was in any team sport, didn't matter because it was all of us. But when it was just you out there by yourself, everything rides on you. You're the only one that can sit there and you can make all the excuses you want. No, it's you. And when you get into that whole just complexity of, I can't let this happen again. It's already happening.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking that way. You're not thinking with that winner's, confidence in that, hey, I'm just going to go out there and do what I do. And I'm just going to keep going because it's worked for me every time. It hasn't worked for you in the last how long? And so you're trying to find new ways to make it happen. And as soon as something goes bad, you start diving.
John, I was like 9, 10 years old. My coach literally, like right before I walked out on the mat, had been working with me on hitting the spiral ride. And as the guy got up to his feet, go right to the Turk and just step through on it. And it was just so funny. Like, I was like, all right, let's just see if it happens. Let's see what happens. The match is literally like we're tied going into the third period. And I'm like, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. It worked. All right, cool. Like,
hey, Mikey.
I was literally that kid. I was that, and even in my fighting career, I was that kid. If you saw like the whole, remember when I fought Yves Edwards and I was giving him the heel to the thigh? I was kicking him with my heel, and I just had worked on. I just basically did it one day in training, and everyone was like, "Oh, you son of a bitch, that hurt!" And I was like, "Oh, it works." So then I just kept doing it to everyone. I literally, Javier had to tell me, "Stop doing it." People were getting pissed off. Stop doing it. You're hurting them.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
training?
hurting them. Yeah, in training.
I'm like, it works. Like, so, but no, it's a mindset. For me, I always just felt like it's still at the end of the day, just a sport. And
yes, it is. But the ability for someone to think that way is exactly the way you want to be, but not everyone can do it.
But do you think that's what drives people? That you think that's what separates? Like, look, I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and say I was fucking Michael Jordan of MMA, but do you think that's what separates the Michael Jordans from the?
No doubt. No doubt. How many times did Michael Jordan say, you know what? You can't score if you don't shoot.
Well,
you'll never know if you don't take the shot. I mean, that was his mentality. Give me the ball. I'm going to make it.
You know what's funny?
But there are ones that he missed, and he just went, all right.
Just got to get better next time. It's funny. I read a story. It's so funny. The other day, I read this story. They were at the Olympics playing in the semifinals, I think, of the Olympics. And he went out and played golf that morning, and he had lost some money to whoever he played with. And so then what he did was he went and played with someone else, another 36. He played like another round of golf. So he played 36 holes that day before the semifinal match in basketball in the Olympics. Okay. And he fucking went off. He went off. He had a great game he had a great game, scored, I don't know, something like 35, 40 points. And also too, he stayed, and they asked him why he stayed. Why'd you play golf and why'd you stay for 36 holes? Like, you have a game tonight. Like, what? He's like, oh, I had to win back the money that I lost earlier. That's crazy, man. Like, there's something wrong with you. You got that kind of That's insane. And then I saw the story too with Kobe Bryant, and there was a rookie that was inside the room. He was shooting. He got in when Kobe walked in. He was already there. The rookie was. He had just got there. So then, or maybe it was vice versa. Kobe was already there. It was something like that. And then Kobe's like, he didn't leave. And the rookie kept saying, I'm just going to wait till he leaves. And finally, he was there for 2.5 hours. He's like, I'm fucking out of here, man. He's like, I got shit to do. So he left. Kobe walked out shortly after. And he's like, oh, man. He's like, I was waiting for you to leave. He's like, I was going to let you know that I'm in here working as hard as you. That's a mentality. I get that Mamba mentality, just that winner mentality. I understand that. But I've also seen where you say, hey, winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners. That's exactly what that rookie was doing. He was focusing on the winner, on someone like Kobe, and he wasn't focused on his own shit. And so that gets you. Look, I know we ramble on this, but
but I'm going to give you another ramble because this is the way someone with the mentality that a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan, Tyson Fury was the sparring partner for Klitschko before he ever fought him. And one of the things that, Russians, Ukrainians, they love the banya. They love, the sauna and sitting in super hot. And it was known that Klitschko would sit in the sauna until everyone left. He would not leave. And so Tyson had heard this and he said, I'm not leaving. I'll die in here. And it was all because it's like, no matter what, you don't have to say we're in competition, but in my mind, this is a competition. I'm going to make it a competition and I'm not going to leave. He did not leave. He goes, I almost killed myself. Klitschko left. He says, it was good because I don't think I had any water left in me. He goes, but I sat in there for another minute and finally came out. And that's the thought process of people that are that competitive to become champions. You got to have it.
It's dangerous, but inside your mind, it's
yes.
It's worth it inside your mind. Next fight.
Yeah. All right. We talked about Punahele against Baeza. We got Thiago Moisés going up against Ludovit Klein. This is actually a really good fight. I like this fight. I think that Thiago has still got a lot of talent. He's not quite the guy he once was. I'm just going to say it. But Ludovit Klein has been freaking just looking awesome in there. And Thiago's got good stand-up. I think he wants to get this fight to the ground. It would be the smartest path for victory, in my opinion. But I don't know if, he's going to be able to keep Klein on the ground. Ludovit has been absolutely looking fantastic in a lot of his fights and just fighting smart. So I love this fight.
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think Klein's definitely got the advantage on the feet, and Thiago's going to have to get this thing to the ground.
He's got the advantage on the ground.
Control. He's got great wrestling. I don't know what happened though, but he hasn't been utilizing that wrestling as much in his last couple fights. And so, and it's shown, he's not getting the wins at the level and the clip that he was before when he was utilizing his wrestling. When you start getting away from what was successful for you early in your career, that makes a huge difference. So when we sit here and we say like, hey, fighters, wrestlers, don't get away from what brought you to the dance. Stay with it. No matter what you do, use that wrestling, grind on that wrestling, and then sprinkle in a little bit of this kickboxing. Sprinkle in a little bit of the jiu-jitsu. Let's work on the jiu-jitsu maybe from the bottom a little bit. Let's work on a little bit of jiu-jitsu from the top. But never get away from what got you to the dance.
Yeah, don't take your base and throw it away.
So I don't know. I mean, look, St. Denis is no easy fight, and he had the loss over to St. Denis, which was in the second round, I believe. But overall, I think this can be a fun fight.
Yeah, this is a really good one.
Next fight
is Charles Radtke against Carlos Prates. Actually, really good matchup. Prates is good. He's talented. He's good in the stand-up. He's good on the ground. He's got everything. Charles Radtke, tough as hell. This is a questionable fight in my opinion for Charles. He's got to really prove something with this fight. I think that Carlos is possibly the best fighter he's faced.
It should be a fun fight. John, I'm looking forward to the Andrea Lee versus Montana De La Rosa.
You just like
I do.
Andrea Lee. I know. KGB is awesome.
She's got a great personality. She's
fantastic.
Even when she loses, she's
such a
like,
good person.
it's like, hey, it was fun. I had a great time. Like that's the way we look. You should look at this. This is a great experience. Obviously, you don't want to get lumped up too much, but
not too much.
But this is the sport. You got to enjoy it. She looks like she's always out there having fun. I mean, she had a tough. I want to say her last fight. She had a tough going. Was it her last fight? Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yeah, I think it was.
I think it was her last fight. Yeah, against Miranda Maverick.
Yeah, she's had a couple that have been tough.
Oh yeah.
But she can fight anywhere. She's got good stand up. She's got a good ground game. This is not an easy fight for her. This is someone in Montana she's got a very good ground game, but I don't know if she's got the stand up to match up with Andrea, because Andrea will take a shot to give a shot, where there's not a lot of ladies that will do it the same way. But both of them are looking for wins. Both of them need the win badly, and it's the story of this entire card. It really is that you got a lot of people coming off of losses that need to get a win.
Do you think that's going to be like their new thing? Like, look, after we do a pay-per-view, it's the ones that are coming off losses. We're putting those cards together. Because that's what I feel like happened the last pay-per-view.
I do.
The fight card after that is like everyone, okay, look, you're fighting for your job.
You really are.
And
you're in that position.
The sad part is you're fighting for your job on a card that really probably no one's watching. Not at the clip of which they're watching. Because the weekend before, like, oh, we got our fix of the UFC the weekend before. They're not even thinking UFC the following weekend. Then you give it another week or two, and they're like, oh, wait, isn't there another pay-per-view coming up? When's the next one? And they start looking. So you're coming off losses. You're hoping to get a win. You're hoping everyone sees it. And if I don't get the win, there's talk about pressure. And then you're putting that on yourself. Some of them are coming off 3 and 4 fight losses. Andrea Leaf, 3 in a row. Dominick Reyes, what's he, 4 or 5 in a row? Something along that line. There's a lot at stake. Any other fights on here you want to chat about?
I think the Taylor Lapilus against Cody Stamann, that's a tough fight. Tough fight for both of them. Both of them very good, but they match up well. The one person I think people need to watch is Eduarda Moura. She's good. She's going up against Denise Gomes. That's a good fight, but Moura's, she's a talented little fighter, so that's in the strawweight division. That's why I said little fighter, 115 pounds.
Oh, you mean they're not little people? They're
little people, but they're very small.
Yeah, she's good, as I recall. I'm sorry, I remember watching her fight, but she came from the Dana White Contender Series.
I think, but she's already had her debut fight in the UFC. She looked good in it. She can fight.
She fought Montserrat Ruiz.
Yeah.
No. TKO in the second, 214.
Yeah. At 115 pounds. You're not
I think what you're going to find, though, is these cards, these cards after the pay-per-views, they'll tend to have some sneaky good fights in there. And what I mean by that is the fighters are fighting for their jobs, pretty much. They feel like they are.
That's it. And that's why I think this is going to be a really good card based upon you've got a lot of people in here. They need to win.
What are you rating this card right now? Between 1 to 10, obviously it's not a stacked card, but let's not give it the star power. But let's say if you're rating this card right now before we even watch a fight, 1 to 10.
I'd give it a 5.5 to 6. It's because of Cannonier and Imavov being the main event. That's a good fight. That's a good middleweight matchup. And so that bumps it up. You can take a look and say, there's a lot of people on here, like I said, coming off of quite a few losses. But this is the kind of card that I always look at and say, watch, it's just going to be fantastic. The fights are going to be great. There's going to be a lot of finishes. And that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, like if I'm look at Jared Cannonier and Imavov, great fight. Reyes versus Jacoby could end up being a knockout. I think it's could be a really good fight. Betting odds have it that way, going under 2.5. And then Rojas Juniors versus Ricky Turcios. That could be a good fight. A lot of scrambles, I would imagine. Maybe a quick submission, maybe a knockout. You never know. Then I'm going to scroll, and then Brunno Ferreira. He's got power. Could be a quick knockout. Or Sholtzfus could. Give up the first round and come back and dominate, rounds 2 and 3. Makes for action-packed fights. I'm going to get into Baeza and Soriano. Someone can get knocked out. Soriano, Baeza coming off 2 TKO losses, hasn't fought since 2022. That's a long time. What has he been working on? How has he gotten better? Those are things to keep in your mind. Is he the same fighter?
This guy's got a great ground game,
he does.
too.
He just never uses it, John.
Doesn't use it. Yeah.
Moisés, obviously coming off losses, but
But Klein has been
Klein
looking
looks good.
So.
Good stuff. Andrea Lee and De La Rosa. Andrea Lee coming off 3 losses, but
and you got Brad Katona on the card. Look, he's the only guy I know that's won the Ultimate Fighter twice.
Hey man, did he get the 6-figure contract? I think that's the last time I ever watched an Ultimate Fighter. Was a 6-figure contract.
Yeah, contract.
I only watched one, and then I watched what was the one with Matt Hughes and was he Matt Hughes? Gabe Rudiger, whatever Gabe Rudiger was on. Remember he got the colonic?
Oh yeah. Well, Matt, I remember.
He got the colonic because he was eating chocolate cake like 2 nights before, and then he went and got the colonic to lose weight. And he still missed
didn't
weight.
make weight. Yeah,
What a fucking
Gabe.
I talked so much shit about him after that. I was like, "What is this? You literally and you." He was
a good guy. He really was. But man, he did things backwards and stuff. You look, what do you?
At least he can look back and say he did it his way.
Yeah, he did it his way. Absolutely.
But you got to think, John. Instead of getting in the sauna and cutting the weight, you decided to have something shoved up your ass. That's right. The dumbest thing that I've ever heard of my life. Name something dumber than that. John's.
There's not a whole lot.
I'll wait.
My idea of fun is not a club.
No, it does not. John, have you had them?
Nope.
Really?
See how fast that is?
No, but see, I was told after 46 or 46, you're supposed to get him.
No, that's a colossus. That's a what do they call that fucking thing? I can't even remember what
colonoscopy. Did you get that?
No.
You haven't done that either?
No.
Bro, I don't know. I got to though.
You leave here, just as simple as it gets. You leave my butthole.
John, bend over, baby. I'm gonna give you a little
give
you a little whistle in there.
That's it. Dude.
No, I mean I've got to get one done. I have colon cancer runs in my family, so I gotta get that all checked. Yeah. Keep it going.
See, I look at it this way. I'm very, very simple. I'm not afraid of dying. It's all good. And when I die, I die. It's just the way it is.
But maybe you could have prevented it.
Yeah, I could have. So what? I lived a great life.
I don't know, man.
No. See, I always look at just be grateful for what you have.
I'm super grateful for everything I have. I'm super grateful, man. Like, I think people, I'm grateful for like friendships. I'm grateful for what I have family wise. I'm grateful for all the things I've been blessed with. Man, I came from nothing, and so the fact that I'm happy, man. I'm happy. Once you realize all the things that you did that led you to this point. I have no regrets. There's things, of course, you'd like to change, but you can't change them. So why even sweat it?
Nah.
Why sweat the little shit, man?
There was one of my friends who passed away was Jeff Blatnick, who was an Olympic gold medalist in Greco-Roman in the '84 Olympics, and when he was the first heavyweight gold medalist in Greco-Roman wrestling for the U.S. ever, and they interviewed him, and he's coming off of Hodgkin's disease, and all the different things, and he says, I'm a happy dude, and it's like, I always teased him about his happy dude thing, but I look at it and I go, someone asked me, were you happy with your life? Dude, I'm a happy dude. I got nothing to complain.
He did
about.
He did the commentary on my fight for UFC. I was supposed to do UFC 37 and a half, but he did the commentary on my fight with what's it called? Gerald Streebet.
Was he still there then? Because I was thinking that they had gotten rid of.
Yeah, I saw on NBC. I saw on NBC he did the commentary on my fight for Gerald Streebet. They did an NBC deal, I think.
Because Joe, everyone talks about Rogan, and Joe started at UFC 12 as a backroom reporter
when he had hair,
and he did have hair. And he he did that for a little while, and then said, hey, I don't have time for it. He was doing news radio, and he was doing all the things, right? But still was a huge fan of the sport. And then Dana, when the Fertittas bought the UFC, he tried a guy named Jeff Osborne. If you remember Jeff, who did Hook and Shoot, and Jeff had this really deep voice.
Yeah,
and it didn't really work out. They tried Frank Shamrock, that didn't work out for him either. And they just didn't. Dana didn't like Jeff. I don't know why. He didn't like the fact that Jeff had crooked teeth. It's like, and Jeff went and got braces because
the big tall guy, the one that passed away, blonde hair guy. He was the.
Oh no, you're thinking about Ryan.
Oh man,
God damn it! You're saying he was just starting kind of with the UFC.
But he was let go.
Yeah.
He was let go, because he was too tall.
Too tall.
He made the fighters look small. He's like, I can't have that,
dude. You know how many times I heard that. Hey man, don't put him in that fight. He's gonna make the fighters look like midgets. What are you doing? And it was like, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But that's the way they look at
like
things. They look at all kinds of shit that you go, really?
Well, I had conversations with, our executive producer when we were with Bellator, and he talked about it does make a little bit of a difference. People do view like, oh wow, that guy's supposed to be the baddest guy on the face of the earth or whatever. And then the guy standing next to him interviewing him is taller. Yeah.
So what? What does tall have to do with being bad?
No, but just people at home like, wait, this guy's not that big. How come that guy's way bigger? Well, because you didn't know that guy was 6'6", and the guy's 6'4", whatever it was, right? So Frank Shamrock's a tiny guy, and so when you stood next to him, he was not a big, he's 5'9", maybe, 5'9", just not a big guy. He's well built, but small guy.
Oh yeah, dude, he was put together.
He was pretty stout.
He had a great fucking physique. But yeah, it's weird. But that whole thing is, Joe came back at the one that Robbie Lawler was the main fight on the card, even though he wasn't the main event. It was a fight for the best damn sports
Aaron
show,
Riley,
period. And no, that was Robbie's first fight. He fought Steve Berger.
That's right.
In that one. And the main event for it was Chuck Liddell against Vitor Belfort. And Dana brought Joe and said, hey, how about doing a commentary? And Joe did it for free.
Smart. Well played.
Yeah. He says, well, no, his whole thing, he says, as long as I can get some tickets for my friends, and Dana goes, yeah, and all the tickets, yeah, no problem. Right?
Good.
Well, and it just stuck.
Jesus, man.
And,
I mean, I don't want to talk people's business, but man,
that was 37.5. I think
it's definitely a good investment by Dana. The free tickets.
My God. I mean, yeah, but seriously, you got to look and go, man, what a pick by Dana to say, hey, let's try this comedian.
Makes sense. I mean, he'd worked the shows before. He went back. They had worked it before the UFC bought him, right? Yeah, he was the back room reporter kind of thing.
Yeah, but he was working for Semaphore back then. When he first started working for Zuffa, was that 37.5, that half show.
I was supposed to be on
because it was put together. It was put together for that best damn sports show period for regular TV.
That's how Yves Edwards got in the UFC, was because of me. I had to pull out of that fight. I was supposed to fight João Perini. And then little did I know that Yves would be the doom of my career. No. Some bitch. No, some bitch.
Thug jitsu.
Yeah. Little fucker got me. Oh man. All right. Hey guys, good times, man. We had some fun, and hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown for UFC this weekend. UFC ESPN on 57. I'm gonna stop just naming them. I'm just saying, hey, this weekend's UFC.
From Louisville, Kentucky, and the Yum Center.
The Yum Center. Get the little head movement going. Yeah.
Let's get it going.
Yeah.
It's all right. All right. For everyone out there, we are happy that you tuned in. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you.